we should be grilling right now. Should be sipping a cold one, but we're waiting on LeBron, and I'm all for it. Like, let's go. I mean,
you're all for it? You're happy to be waiting on LeBron?
No, I mean, just get me to a decision. Like,
so you don't seem happy to be waiting on LeBron.
That's all. That's when I'll be happy, I guess. But yeah, I mean, every day there's like always something new coming out, right? It's like, well, originally it was like, oh, the Warriors are going to be the favorite. It's them or the Cavs. Then we're hearing, well, there's another team that might be invested. The Timberwolves, the Nuggets, even the Spurs want to get involved. Now the Sixers are looking like top dogs. Every day is different.
Every day is different. And it's, you know how like desperate I think we are out here, or just how strange this whole thing has gotten. I flip on my radio this morning to listen to the great Dan Devone and Carter Chickering. Did a great job from 8 to
awesome
noon.
Show.
I kid you not, I didn't listen right from the start at 8, but I must have turned it on around 8:30 or something. And the first thing I hear out of Dan's mouth is, and this is why the right thing to do is to trade Steph. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is really what we're doing right now?
He's drawing you in.
We're so just desperate and waiting for a LeBron James move that we have nothing better to say than the right thing to do is to trade Steph. That's where we're at.
Roll a fat one.
That's where we're at that's on this Friday, July 3rd, huh?
Oh, man. Dan wants to get the fireworks going really early, doesn't he? He was just saying to trade Curry if we don't get LeBron.
No, just in general to reset the whole thing. And he actually said the best time to do it was a couple years ago. And like, we don't need to go down that road. There's valid points on that side if you are, a team that is heartless and doesn't have the emotional connection to Steph Curry and doesn't want to alienate your entire fan base. It's never going to happen. But the point is, that's where the conversation around the Warriors has gone right now, because they do feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, which is you have the aging group led by Steph Curry, and of course Draymond Green is a part of it. And your best realistic hope for this offseason is to add a 42-year-old. Then that's where the Warriors are at right now, because LeBron wouldn't cost you draft capital, and the Warriors seem very, very, very hesitant to give up on that, at least anything more than like a pick here or there. They've given up some picks, 3 different instances where they give away a single pick in the first round, but that's it within the last decade of Warriors basketball. And LeBron James is a free agent who theoretically is going to sign for $15 million or less. So you're not giving up anything. That's the best choice the Warriors have. And it's not a bad choice, but it's not like it's going to turn around and suddenly make you a championship caliber team.
No, this isn't. I mean, like we talked about the Last Dance, right, for them. And that's the kind of the worst part about it is because like you said, the best chance that they would have to get better would be to take on the 42-year-old. Now, the 42-year-old happens to be LeBron James.
One of the greatest, if not the greatest ever.
Right. And I mean, honestly, you could still say he's a top 20 guy in the league. I mean, you can go maybe around there, but it's more about like I would want him just because of his mentorship to other guys. Like, imagine him with Yaxel Lundenborg. How much better can he make him? How much better could he make, like, talking to guys, even though he's injured right now, talking to guys like Moses Moody, working with Brandon Bajemski.
Moody might not be here if LeBron's here, because that might be the other domino that has to fall.
I know. We'll have to see exactly like how the intangibles will work out. But I'm saying just working with younger guys, I would take him over like even a guy like Kevin Durant is still being talked about in certain realms of maybe he goes somewhere else. Like another team might be interested in
classic Kevin Durant.
But no one's clamoring for Kevin Durant anymore. And although he's a great player.
The Warriors were a year ago. Not a year.
But do you think they would take him over LeBron James if they couldn't? Just based upon, what the impact could be.
I still think Kevin Durant's a better player than LeBron James.
I agree.
So, but I don't know what the money would be or how it would all work.
And again, they would have to trade for him and give up a lot more.
You're asking me to give up multiple picks for Kevin Durant and the money involved there, or sign LeBron James.
Plus, he doesn't want to come here anyway, so forget Kevin Durant. But all that said, there's really the free agency list just keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Now, people were freaking out because they lost out on Anthony Simons yesterday, which is like, I mean, I guess you lost out for the money. The money kind of looked more. I'm like, well, damn, for $6 million a year,
2 years.
That's what I would be more upset about than the actual player.
Well, I don't think any Warrior fan, and call us, let us know, 888-957-9570. It's a special holiday edition of Warriors coverage here on 95.7 The Game. We're with you until 4 o'clock, 8 hours of local coverage today on Friday, July 3rd. Let us know, 888-957-9570. It's both the number to call and to text. You'll get to hear from Pasta when you call, and then you get to talk to Ken and I here on the radio after that. Yeah, bloop. You definitely want to talk to Pasta. I recommend
bloop yourself.
Hey. I recommend. I love it. I recommend that. I don't think Warrior fans, and again, maybe I'm wrong, and this is where I want Warrior fans to let us know. I don't think Warrior fans are sitting here being like, oh my God, how could you let Anthony Simons go somewhere else? That was the key to us being a really good basketball team. It's just you have a limited number of resources and a limited number of pathways to improve your roster. To sign a free agent that you can afford to sign, which is, $15 million or less. You can't do anything else to any other free agent unless you have an exodus of money on your current roster. That's just one of the guys who would have fit your pathway to being able to sign him. That is a quality basketball player and would make you better. Like he would make the Warriors better.
Tremendously.
Is he going to make them the 5th best team in the West? No. But
I think they get out of the play-in.
Maybe
so.
If you stay healthy, maybe that's of course a possibility. But the point isn't like, oh my God, Anthony Simons is on the level of LeBron James and his impact on the Warriors. It's just you being tied up with the business of LeBron has forced you to forego potentially the other pathways to improve the roster. And it looks like now the reality is either LeBron, and Sham saying this morning the Warriors are no longer the front runner for LeBron James. It's either that, which is seemingly less likely with every passing day, or it's last season once again. And last season was a disaster when they won 37 games. And that's why Warrior fans are frustrated, not because they're not a championship caliber team, which of course we all want, but just simply because it seems like the only thing standing between it being last year again is LeBron James's 4th decision.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember last year early on, we were complaining about an early road game loss to Indiana. Do you remember that?
Milwaukee and Indiana, back-to-back games when Giannis missed that game for Milwaukee.
Right.
And then Indiana, all their starters missed that game.
And we're like,
and the Warriors were fully healthy at that point.
We're kind of scratching our heads here like, wait a minute, how did that? We had no idea how much worse it could have gotten, and it did get.
It got so much worse.
But with when it comes to LeBron thing, I guess that's the only option you might have at this point. There's a couple of other things. Draymond Green is talking about other moves they could possibly make. Who knows? He's kind of a little, what do you call it? Just being a little anonymous when it comes to that sort of thing. But he, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, the thing is
there's not much else they can do right now.
But why, right? Because they hamstrung themselves by extending guys, right? Curry obviously you're going to pay Curry that massive extension. Draymond got the extension that he wanted. Now he opted out, which thank you. But they put themselves in this predicament, especially with the Jimmy Butler thing. You really didn't anticipate he would get that devastating ACL injury that he got, but here we are. So if anyone's kind of upset why they can't only sign certain guys, you have to look inward. And I think that's the one thing you look at. But the only thing that could work out right now is either you get LeBron or you don't. And if you don't, now, like you said, we're just going to run this back for 2025 all over again.
I know what it feels like.
Hope and pray that, that hamstring for Curry doesn't tweak again. That, Draymond's
the knee.
Oh yeah, the
runner's knee.
Mm-hmm.
But he's 38. It could be anything. Who the hell knows?
Right. And the worst part about it is that you don't have Jimmy for at least 60 games. That's what we're talking about right now.
We'll see exactly how, but I would expect the earliest we see him play is in February, the earliest.
I think the only thing I would be excited for if the LeBron thing doesn't work out is Yaxel. If I'm a Warriors fan, I'm all in on just watching him develop, because if you're not getting, I think he's still a top tier talent in LeBron, regardless of what he's doing on the court. But you're just kind of hoping that the young guys can show out like I think Yaxel could.
Yeah, there was a report last night that came from Jake Fisher, who works alongside Mark Stein, part of the Stein line, their Substack. And they've been on a lot of this news that's happened over the last, week plus around the NBA, not just free agency, but also, Giannis trade and that sort of thing. And Jake Fisher put this out yesterday. As the free agent market moves along, sources say Minnesota and Golden State have both pitched the NBA's top remaining forward, Rui Hachimura, which is an interesting one. But my first thought immediately goes to, well, is this a if LeBron doesn't choose us move? Because right now, the way the Warriors' finances are, you can't do Rui Hachimura and LeBron James. I guess unless one or both those guys take a vet minimum, which is possible, but Rui's not going to take a vet minimum.
I was going to say, what's he earning right about now? What's his AAV?
I don't know what he.
It's got to be around like 20 mil or something like that, right?
I don't know if it's that high. Let's see. What did he make with the Lakers last year?
If that was a consolation prize to LeBron James, I'd be for that. I mean, he's got size.
He was on a 3-year, $51 million deal. It went up as the years went along, but last year he made $18 million. So he's not taking a vet minimum. He's not. LeBron, it's possible. I would be shocked if that still were to happen. We've heard, of course, for LeBron that it's not a financial decision. It's a happiness-based decision. It seems to me that the messaging has changed a little bit from happiness to going to a contender, which is, I think, where this conversation has shifted today. And we're going to get to the calls coming up in just a second. But some of the new things that have happened this morning, we should let all Warrior fans hear. Because the first thing is that Shams Charania of ESPN went on Get Up this morning and had this update to the LeBron James sweepstakes, and listen to what he has to say about the Warriors specifically. Here's Shams this morning on Get Up on ESPN.
Joe, I think at least a few, but this is a true free agency process because so much has changed, right? There's the fluidity that comes with it, with information. A few days ago, the Sixers didn't have Jaylen Brown, so now they do. They did it in stunning fashion, and so now they have to be on the radar of LeBron James, and so where does that fit them? And then the Cavaliers, the Heat, they're two teams that are known quantities. The Warriors, going into free agency, they dreamt up a grand plan of Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, LeBron James. But the big domino with them is trying to get a player like an Anthony Davis. So you can bring in LeBron James and Anthony Davis as a package deal. Short of that, they're not really looked at right now at the top of this list. But things can change.
Interesting, because the way that this timeline has gone this week, Ken, is Monday, Draymond opts out of his contract, and everyone's like, oh, okay, maybe there's something going on here.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday, we find out that LeBron is going to play again, but not for the Lakers. And we put 2 and 2 together, and we're like, okay, Draymond opts out, and then LeBron says he's leaving the Lakers. That must mean the Warriors and Draymond knew what was coming, and they're planning on making room for LeBron. They're acting with knowledge. LeBron has interest, and he's going to join them. And then the rumors develop where it's like, well, LeBron is a package deal with Anthony Davis. You have to get Anthony Davis, and then LeBron will come. And then that rumor kind of dies down the last couple of days, right?
Well, it's weird because it seemed like it was only tied for the Warriors, right? Because, I didn't hear anything about, Boston's got to get Anthony Davis. The Heat have to get Anthony Davis. The Sixers, the Wolves.
Yeah. My guess is probably because LeBron thinks those rosters are better.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I'm going with this.
The Warriors roster isn't very good.
Because look at all the trades that have happened. Everybody has, Steiny and Evan were talking about it the other day. The other teams are, even the teams that have less roster, like Jeremy Grant got traded in the John Morant trade. You gave talent to get talent. So now the Warriors have to get talent to get more talent. You know what I mean? They can't. Again, they don't have a roster that looks as appealing as these other ones. And I think that's the one thing that, I guess you have to do Anthony Davis. But we've been talking about it all week. The Warriors don't want to give up picks. They want to stay young. They want to have those picks.
Definitely not for Anthony Davis. I don't want to go. But it's interesting, I think, the way that it comes back up, because that was the rumor early in the week. And then it died down. My best guess why the rumor died down was because the Warriors are sitting here like, no, I don't want Anthony Davis. We don't want to give up picks. Why should we
have to trade our picks just so we're making you happy and making our team
I don't even know if it's that necessarily. They just probably think maybe there's a good chance LeBron will come here even if they don't get Anthony Davis. But they're viewing Anthony Davis as a player that they don't think is worth multiple first-round picks, and they don't want to give a max extension which is crazy.
And what if what's the real incentive there, though? Because like, what if you do trade for Anthony Davis and LeBron goes, well, you know what? Actually, look, the Sixers.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do it. I think where you have like a handshake agreement in place, and they kind of happen at the same time. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they'd get fooled, and these things can't be official for another couple of days anyway. So. That would be my guess there. But I find it curious that the rumor first popped up early in the week. It died down. My guess is it died down because the Warriors, leaked out to certain reporters like, no, we don't want Anthony Davis. Are you kidding me? But Shams is still pushing the same exact thing. So clearly he's hearing something from somebody else. It sounds like it's from the LeBron side of things, Rich Paul perhaps. And then we get Rich Paul's podcast with Max Kellerman today. Game Over with Max Kellerman and Rich Paul.
So we got a whiteboard here? Can we show the whiteboard for the guys on YouTube?
Has everyone seen this whiteboard? And I know Sean in LA, who's waiting on hold, wants to talk about the whiteboard. But let me lay it out for you. So Rich Paul has this podcast. It's a normal occurrence. He's a co-host of the podcast with Max Kellerman, so he's not like a guest or anything. But they show up. Rich Paul is fresh off a trip to London to go to Wimbledon, but he's back. He's wearing his all whites like he was at Wimbledon, on championship day.
That was actually a clean look. I think Kellerman called it crispy. I like that.
But so he's got LeBron in the center of the whiteboard, and then he's got all these different lines connecting to these other teams, and he has kind of like a quick description or a quick list of their roster. And the big five teams around LeBron are all right around him, kind of like in a circle, right around LeBron's name in the center. And those teams are Philadelphia, Cleveland, Denver, Minnesota, and Miami. So those are the teams that have taken up the most space on Rich Paul's LeBron whiteboard. Theoretically, the realistic landing spots for LeBron James. There's five teams that are kind of in the margins that have less details around them. It's the Spurs, the Knicks, Boston, Dallas, and the Warriors. So we have this report from Shams. The Warriors are no longer at the top of LeBron's list. They need a package deal with a player like Anthony Davis to get it done. And then we have LeBron James's agent, Rich Paul, putting together this list of the potential suitors for LeBron James, and the Warriors are far off in the corner in the periphery.
Way up in the left. And it doesn't even say Warriors. It says
Steph and Dre.
And then that's it. What's the one thing that popped out to you? I can tell you for me real quick. I didn't see Jimmy's name there.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not going to play for at least half the year.
But
didn't see Steve Kerr's name.
But at the same time, if Jimmy's included in that, right? If we're considering that everything that we've heard that Jimmy's not going to get traded, that he loves, being with Curry, he loves, like, front office loves him, Lacob loves him, everybody loves him. Why isn't he there? Even though he's not going to play until January, February, when you get him back and LeBron, if LeBron comes there, you have Steph, Dre, Jimmy, and LeBron. So I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too many tea leaves there, but it just looked like to me that, I feel like he should have been included. Also, I'm going to take a real quick, Randy. It said Knicks on the bottom right. It should have said world champion Knicks.
Oh, God.
That's the only thing I got a little issue with.
Well, not the other thing. There's a lot of things that was said by Rich Paul on this podcast, and we'll let you hear some of it coming up in a little bit. But the other thing about the Knicks was if the Knicks hadn't won a championship, this wouldn't even be a conversation. There would be no whiteboard. He would already be a Knick, he being LeBron.
And if you're a Knicks fan, what are you going to say? Oh, darn it. Man, if we just didn't win that world title that we haven't had in
we'd have 42-year-old LeBron.
Years, we could have. Exactly. It was someone made it perfectly. We're like, well, we could have either had Giannis, we could have had LeBron, or a world title. What do I choose?
Yeah, that's a really tough decision.
And honestly, the fact that he's still the one thing that Rich Paul was like, well, he was talking about why are there other
Timberwolves?
Excuse me. Max Kellerman asked Rich Paul. He goes, why aren't are the Timberwolves a legit play here? Are the Nuggets a legit play? He goes, well, they're on the board. They're on the board. Yeah. And I think that's the one thing you could look at, like the silver lining, even with the Knicks, but more so with the Warriors. They're still, if they weren't on the board, then okay. Well,
yeah, but they're off in the corner all by themselves.
Well, again, who else are you going to put on that list? Pods? Are you going to put?
Steph is Steph. It's Steph Curry.
I understand, but there's not. Again, they don't have the roster that the other teams have. At least we're on the board. That's what you have to think about that.
Yeah, but you're holding up your whole offseason. It wasn't going to be that much in the first place, but you're holding it up for this guy.
It's crazy because this is his 20. He's been doing this for 24 years, right?
I think he's going into his 24th season.
Is it? It's going to be 24.
I think,
and he's still not going to this isn't his last year. They've already talked about that. This is definitely not his.
Rich Paul said no one said it was his last year. It didn't say for sure that he's going to play 2 more years.
Yes, but I think that's what we can assume at least for now. But the fact that he's still the center of attention when Ja Morant.
Ja Morant.
No. I'm saying Ja Morant gets traded. Giannis gets traded. Jaylen Brown was kind of a big one, but we're still sitting here waiting to see. It's like Brett Favre back in like the
when he went to the Jets,
the odds, and then the Vikings. Right? We're waiting on it almost got to an annoyance. I mean, I think it's not on the same scope, but we're still waiting on LeBron James. We're still waiting for another decision, quote unquote, and I think that's the most captivating part. But like I said, the Warriors are still on the board. There's still a chance.
They are.
I just think the problem is because you said earlier in the week, I mean, you thought it was the Warriors or Cavs. And honestly, I like the Warriors over the Cavs. Just based upon who he can play with, who he's playing for with Steve Kerr.
Yep.
Again, golfing anytime you want. Big wine guy. I mean, those people are like, well, those aren't the big ones. I mean, I think for a guy who's 42, who's at the end, who's done it all, those are big deals for if I'm LeBron James.